My husband begged for a baby, then refused to watch her. Am I a single mom with a roommate? Okay. So last week, I booked a work trip. He refused. Flat out. Take her with you, apparently. My stomach just dropped. Who does that? Right? 9 months, 0 practice. My hands started shaking. And here is where it gets worse. Daycare sent me the pickup logs. 23 late pickups by him. 3 times. They had to call me. The pediatrician flagged missed doses of reflux meds. Watermark stained one instruction sheet. And then, everything changed. He looked me dead in the eye at dinner. He pushed his plate away. She scares me. I set down the bottle. She is your daughter. His voice went thin. I can't be trapped for 4 nights. He rubbed his temples. No. I leaned forward. What happens if I die? He didn't answer, so I dug deeper. I opened our daycare app history. 37 checkouts by me, 5 by him. Since March, 92 diaper changes logged by me. His profile showed 6 total interactions. 4 months of records, same pattern. At this point, I'm just done. I printed everything for counseling tomorrow. The pediatrician leaned across the desk, her expression tight. If he refuses basic care, that is neglect. She tapped the growth chart. Continued inconsistency, risks, dehydration, and injury. Her voice went flat. One more incident, I must report. My throat tightened hard. So yeah, that is clear. He either steps up, or we implode. Then the counselor smiles at him. New dads freeze sometimes. It is normal. She calls it fear, not avoidance. My jaw locked under that word. He relaxes, like he is off the hook. I just stood there thinking maybe I'm alone. If the system won't help, what now? And that is when it happened. Part of me wanted to cancel the trip. Part of me wanted proof. I booked it anyway for 4 nights. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why risk it, right? Because he keeps saying he'll try. Because I needed a line in ink. I told him the dates and plan. Daycare drop-off, work, pick-up, bedtime. My best friend would be backup. I handed him a simple checklist. Bottles, meds, laundry, nap schedule. He smirked and shrugged. And then he booked a bowling night. During my entire trip. And this is where everything fell apart. I grabbed my phone and called him. Cancel that night. You're watching your kid. He laughed under his breath. She'll go to Kayla's. My voice went sharp. You're her parent. He reached for his keys. It is not my skill set. I recorded the conversation for my notes. Then I emailed the counselor the clip. I also messaged Kayla for clarity. She answered within minutes. I've got her if needed. But he should handle his child. I packed, labeled everything, and left. He drove us to the airport, silent. He hugged the baby, not me. I boarded with a knot in my chest. What exactly would he do now? First night, the text started. Does she need the blue bottle? Then nothing for hours. My leg bounced through the meeting. At lunch, Kayla pinged me, confused. So he is dropping her here. News to me, apparently. I excused myself and called. Why didn't you tell me? He rustled around. Emergency at the shop. During pickup time, his tone went defensive. I'm working, aren't I? She is not an errand. Relax, it is temporary. I hung up, fist clenched tight. I emailed daycare about authorized pickups. They confirmed he never showed. Kayla handled everything that evening. Second night, same pattern, worse. He texted me at 2 in the morning. She's still awake. Because she slept at 6. Because you missed her nap. I stared at the hotel ceiling. My eyes stung. In the morning, the pediatrician emailed back. She'd reviewed my logs and concerns. She offered an urgent telehealth slot. I forwarded the invite to him. We both joined from separate rooms. The doctor leaned toward her camera. Tell me your barrier. He cleared his throat. She terrifies me. Of what exactly? He stared off screen. Losing myself. Losing freedom. Her tone went firm. That is not fear. That is avoidance. She laid out a safety plan. Daily check-ins. Shared tasks. Consequences. He nodded. Eyes on his phone. I asked for clarity on reporting. She didn't mince words. Non-compliance triggers a mandatory report. My shoulders tensed, then steadied. Trip day 3, he ghosted. Kayla sent photos of a smiling baby. He posted bowling stories online. I screenshotted everything now. I'm mad and methodical. I drafted a separation plan. Housing, custody, finances, routines. I also wrote a script. When I landed, he collected her. He hugged me, then vanished. Mechanic, errand, buddy. Everything urgent. I stood in the doorway, heart pounding. We need to talk tonight. He checked the time. Make it quick. No more quick. He reached the knob. Then text me. This is our child. He looked through me. I'll be back by 4. It is 3:30 now. He shrugged and left. I opened the laptop and filed notes. Timeline, logs, messages, screenshots. I called a family attorney's office. Consultation for Thursday afternoon. Kayla texted an offer to help. I breathed out, just once. Then the doorbell rang. It was his mother on the porch. She breezed in without asking. She glanced at the baby, then me. He is overwhelmed, you know. I crossed my arms. So am I. Men learn slower. Babies don't wait. Her voice softened. Don't embarrass him publicly. I'm protecting my child. She stared, then left. By 4, he still wasn't back. At 4:30, I strapped her in. We drove to Kayla's place. I handed over spare clothes. She touched my shoulder. You ready to do this? I nodded once. I'm done begging. Then set the boundary. Do it tonight. I drove home with my script. He pulled in behind me, phone buzzing, and his face went pale when he answered it. His eyes flicked to me, then away, and he walked toward the porch steps while whoever was on the line talked fast. He kept nodding without speaking, which is never a good sign. When he hung up, his hands were shaking. He cleared his throat, stared at the gravel, and told me a social worker was coming. Okay, so that is when my stomach dropped for real. I asked who called. He looked past me. Daycare called a hotline. I stepped closer. Why would they call that? His voice went flat. Because of the car seat thing. My chest went tight. What car seat thing? He rubbed his face. Chest clip was low. She was fine. I closed the door behind him and carried the baby to the living room because I could feel my legs starting to bounce. Now, I know what you're thinking. Overreacting, right? And then the knock came. I opened it, and a woman with a badge introduced herself and asked if she could come in. Her tone was calm, but my hands went cold anyway. She glanced at the baby. Is now a good time? I shifted the diaper bag. Yes. What is happening? Her voice stayed even. We received a report about inconsistent care. I swallowed hard. From daycare. She nodded once. A car seat misplacement and repeated late pickups. I invited her to sit, handed over the printed logs, and walked through the last 3 days. She took notes while he hovered by the kitchen, eyes on his phone. She explained the safety plan in plain words, in-home check-ins, joint tasks, and no unsupervised overnights for him until proof of follow-through. He slouched into a chair and muttered that he was being punished for being honest. The social worker folded her hands. If there is one more incident, I'll escalate to a formal investigation. My jaw clenched so hard my teeth hurt. She scheduled a follow-up for Friday morning and left her card on the table. Then I understood the next step. I opened the shared tablet on the counter and tapped the messages icon because he never logs out now. I know snooping is messy, but I needed answers before I confronted him. And here is where it gets crazy. A group chat popped up with the bowling guys, and he wrote that the babysitter had the kid so he could breathe. He sent Kayla a standing offer to take her anytime I'm busy, and he said a recurring payment. My hands went cold again. There was one more thread with his mother. He told her he'd force me to quit my job once the baby proved too much for me. I stared at the screen until my eyes blurred. I took photos of everything and emailed them to myself. He walked back in with a soda and set it down a little too hard. I pointed at the tablet. Explain this plan. He glanced at the screen. You're overreacting. My voice went steady. You outsourced parenting. He lifted a shoulder. She likes Kayla. I tapped the mother thread. And this part. His jaw worked. You shouldn't snoop. I walked past him, grabbed a folder, and started laying out schedules like a general with maps. Drop off, pickups, bath, meds, bedtime. Then I slid the attorney consult confirmation across the table. His eyes narrowed, and he reached for it, but I kept my hand on the paper. I told him I was considering a separation because our child needs consistency, not a part-time parent. He stared for a long second, and then walked away. I had to choose between staying stuck or setting a new line. The door knocked again, 20 minutes later. Faster, this time. A second staffer walked in to finalize the safety plan we agreed to on the call. She reviewed conditions, ticked boxes, and asked for our signatures. Joint care logs, daily check-in texts. No unsupervised evenings for him until compliance for 4 weeks. He bristled and muttered that the government was in our home now. She didn't flinch. The worker looked at him, then at me. The worker set her pen down. Do you both agree to these terms for your child's safety? I nodded. Yes, absolutely. He shrugged, eyes hard. Fine. She slid copies across. We'll check back Friday. I thanked her. We appreciate the guidance. After the door closed, the house went so quiet, my ears rang. I strapped the baby into her seat because I needed a break from his energy and drove to Kayla's. Kayla opened the door before I knocked, like she'd been waiting, and reached for my daughter with a smile. Part of me wanted to cry. Part of me couldn't stop moving. Morning came faster than my thoughts could settle, and I walked into the attorney's office with a folder under my arm. The receptionist led me to a small conference room. The attorney entered and sat, and I started unloading documentation like I was emptying a storm drain. Daycare logs, the tablet screenshots, the doctor's notes, and the safety plan. She scanned the pages. Tell me your goals. I leaned forward. Temporary separation, stable schedule, primary custody for now. Her tone turned focused. You have evidence of pattern. I nodded and slid another paper. He refused 4 nights of care. She tapped the safety plan. Leverage that for temporary orders. I exhaled slowly. What about finances? She outlined options, crisp and clear. File for temporary support and parenting time schedules. She also warned me to keep everything documented down to the minute. I walked out with a plan and a court date request for next week. I picked up my daughter from Kayla and drove home, only to find him packing a duffel. He reached for the car seat. His voice sharpened. We're staying at my mom's tonight. I moved between him and the door, not without the plan approved. He stepped closer. He stopped, eyes bright with anger, and I could feel heat climbing my neck. The plan is control. I kept my voice even. The plan keeps her safe. He reached for the handle. I pulled my phone out and opened the worker's card. If you walk out unsupervised, I call. He froze. Then paced the entry rug. You're punishing me. I'm protecting her. The baby stirred, then giggled at the jingle of his keys. My stomach twisted. He lowered the keys, breathing fast. and suddenly his shoulders sagged. Fine, I'll stay tonight, and tomorrow, and the next 2 weeks, supervised. He looked past me at the hallway. I'm not a monster. Then show up. That night I logged every task. Bottles, bath, bedtime, check. He hovered, asked basic questions, and actually changed a diaper without complaint. My shoulders dropped a notch. Progress, maybe. Morning hit like a bus, and I woke to the alarm and an empty side of the bed. I listened, heard cabinet doors, and walked to the kitchen. He had lined up bottles and the formula scoop. One bottle cap lay on the counter. He glanced up. Is this right? Yes, warmers plugged in. He nodded, jaw set, and finished measuring with deliberate care. Daycare drop-off together. At the center, he carried the bag in and signed the sheet. The director watched from her desk, eyes unreadable. See you at 5:30, he swallowed. I'll be there. Now, I know what you're thinking. Easy part done, real life pending. You'd be right. He showed at 5:35, flustered but present. The director nodded once and handed over our daughter. He thanked her, voice rough, and looked almost surprised to be capable. At home, he cooked pasta, while I handled bath time. Steam fogged the mirror as she splashed and squealed. He peeked in, smiling, then retreated to stir the pot. My chest loosened a little. After bedtime, we sat across the table. We need rules. He rubbed his palms. I know. Classes too, parenting workshop. He nodded, eyes tired. I'll sign up. I slid a list to him. These start Monday. He scanned the page. Okay. And then the test hit. Friday morning, the social worker knocked bright and early. She checked our logs, asked direct questions, and walked through the kitchen. The baby leaned against my shoulder and yawned. The worker watched him prep a bottle. How many ounces? 4. Meds, after breakfast. She made a note. Continue exactly like this. When she left, he exhaled like he'd been holding breath for hours. He placed his hands flat on the table. I didn't realize how checked out I was. His voice cracked. I kept thinking I'd lose myself. I kept eye contact. Parenthood changes you. It shouldn't erase you. He nodded, eyes wet, and didn't argue. For 2 weeks, he followed the plan. Not perfect, but steady. He logged tasks, showed up, and texted check-ins without prompting. My leg bounced less. I slept more than scraps. The attorney called with the court date and recommended keeping the separation request active. Structure will keep momentum, she explained. I agreed. Then his mother reappeared with plastic tubs and an agenda. She set them down with a bright smile. I'm moving him home this weekend. I blocked the doorway. That is not happening. She tilted her head. He is overwhelmed here. He is functioning here. Family helps. Family respects our plan. Her smile thinned. You're making this adversarial. I'm making it safe. She lifted the tubs and left without another word. That night, he stood by the sink, silent. I told her no, he murmured. Good. He rinsed a bowl. I owe you more than bare minimum. Our daughter does too, he nodded. Court landed the following Thursday, a blur of paperwork, benches, and murmurs. The judge reviewed the safety plan, daycare logs, and medical notes. Temporary orders, she announced. Primary physical custody to the mother. Father to have parenting time under the plan. Compliance required. My shoulders lowered, and I breathed. He agreed on the record. The judge added classes, plus a communication rule. Use the app, not third parties. We walked out into the hallway. He leaned against the wall, eyes closed. I deserved that. I adjusted the diaper bag. You deserve a chance to improve. She deserves consistency. He nodded again, then surprised me. I scheduled a therapist for myself. I studied his face. Good, keep going. The next month was quieter, not easy but quieter. He arrived on time, completed tasks, and failed once. Then owned it. He texted, overslept. Fixing it now. He followed through and made pickup. I logged it, and chose not to spiral. Kayla came by on a Saturday with muffins and a grin. How is the roommate? I laughed once, learning basic human skills. The baby clapped at the joke. Kayla glanced at me. You look less haunted. Structure helps. You always carried the map. Now the map's laminated, she snorted. Good. We stood in the kitchen watching him assemble a stroller attachment for morning walks. His hands moved slower than mine would, but they didn't shake. 2 months post-court, the social worker closed the safety plan with a final visit. She checked boxes, asked clear wrap-up questions, and stood. You've both stabilized. She looked at him. Keep therapy and classes, then at me. Keep boundaries and documentation. We thanked her, and the door clicked shut. That night on the couch, he spoke without defense. I was trying to force you to quit. My jaw locked, then softened. I know. He swallowed. I wanted my life unchanged. Mine changed the second I saw 2 lines. His eyes closed. I see it now. Don't make me carry it alone. He nodded. We aren't magically fixed. We live separately but close, 2 apartments 10 minutes apart. He keeps therapy and classes. I keep boundaries and my job. Our daughter gets routine and love. Enough. So yeah, that is my story.